Oh my god.
So, so then we go back down to Coruscant, and we get, and throughout the whole thing, Han's been saying, "Oh, I got a bad feeling about this. I got a bad feeling about this."
Okay.
And he walks into the Jedi Temple, and there's nobody there, and he's like, I feel like I should have a bad feeling about this, but I have a good feeling about this. And Luke's like, don't. There's somebody watching us. So then 4 Red Guards show up.
Okay.
With double-bladed lightsabers.
Full lightsabers.
Like,
not just
full
the
lightsaber Red
Guards.
Alright. And so they're fighting, and it's great, because Luke's, like, fighting too, and he, like, cuts one lightsaber in half, and he knocks one out with, like, a back fist punch. And Han's just shooting like, Luke, I think I need help. And one of them cuts his gun in half, and he's just like, Luke, I definitely need help. And so Luke picks up one of the lightsabers with the Force and throws it like a boomerang, and it just cuts 2 of them in half. And the other one, like, kicks Luke down, and he's ready to get him, and then Han just stabs him in the back with the lightsaber, and he's like, these are really cool. So
for the most part, Luke is like fully awesome badass.
He's a full-blown badass Jedi. Yeah.
Like how he was in Legends after.
Return like of the Jedi. After Return of the Jedi, cool. Badass. And so then they're like going down the hallway some more, and C-3PO comes in. And he's like, oh, Master Luke, I haven't seen you in forever. And he's like, come on, Princess Leia's this way. And Han's just like, man, do you think he has shut up since the last time we saw him? And so Han and Luke and 3PO go, they're moving down, they're moving through the corridors of the Jedi Temple. And they find, like, this throne room. Okay. Where they find Leia, Vader, and the Emperor. Mm-hmm. And 3PO pulls a gun on Han and takes Han hostage. And so Luke's like, oh man, I got 3PO too.
That sucks.
And the Emperor's just like, oh, how appropriate for you to appear before us as a full Jedi, as the last of the Jedi. He's like, well, your sister's going to destroy you and ascend to her rightful place as the ruler of the galaxy. Or he says Leia will do it. And Luke's like, no matter what you do, I'm never going to fight my sister. And that is the reveal to both Vader and Leia that Luke is Leia's brother, and that Leia is actually Vader's daughter. So that throws Vader off. Like, he's like, my daughter? Like, he didn't realize it because the Emperor told him to, like, ignore those disturbances.
Just keep ignoring it. Yeah. Oh, man.
So... So it like throws him totally off, and Leia's a little taken off by it too, because she started to fully accept the dark side. Mm-hmm. Like, she's become like a real acolyte.
Yeah, and as far as she knew, she's pretty much alone in the galaxy.
She was
alone. Her family was gone.
Yeah, and so like now she suddenly has a brother, she has a father, and so this is all news for her, and the Emperor's like pissed that this has been revealed.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I won't have you struck down without a fight, Skywalker. Pick up your weapon or your pirate friend dies. And Han's like, hey, I'm not a damn pirate. So then you get this little, like, struggle in the background with Han, like, fighting 3PO.
The fight I never knew I wanted.
And then Leia comes out and she's like, no matter what you say, this fight has to happen, brother. And so they're fighting. And then we get another flash away to Yoda and Tarkin on the Death Star. And Tarkin, and you don't even see what's happening. You just see Yoda like, impressive.
When these scenes change, is it a wipe?
Yes.
It is.
Pretty much.
It's a side wipe, just like in all the movies.
It pretty much is, though. And that's the weird part. Like, when you read it, it's just kind of like... Because you read from left to right, and then it just goes right into the next thing. Like, you're just going, and it's really funny.
Star Wars does like their wipes.
They're so simple. But so you see Yoda, like, on the bridge, and he's like, impressive display, Tarkin, but not what this weapon was meant for, is it? And it flashes out, and they're just sweeping the Death Star laser through the Imperial fleet. Just like...
Okay.
Like, you've got super Star Destroyers, like, smashing into each other, and regular Star Destroyers are just exploding in lines.
So they're pretty much wiping out the fleet in one foul swoop.
And Yoda's just, and all the guys are like, Admiral, what's happening? Why is that? And all the destroyers are like, the Death Star's firing on us, oh god! And so we go back, and Luke and Leia are having their fight, and it's a powerful fight, but there's no real dialogue. Like, you can tell it's like a clash of emotions and conflict. And Vader has a few thoughts during this, but they're all like, my daughter, my son, you know, like, he's conflicted at the fact that his children are fighting. Yeah. And that he even has a daughter. Because he didn't know, and he's been spending years with her. Mm-hmm. And,
what is Leia fighting with?
With Vader's saber.
With Vader's saber.
She has Vader's saber, and Luke has Anakin's.
Okay.
And that was actually one of the things I wanted to talk about, that it was so brilliant to have those two blades clashing when you brought it up. Because instead of Luke having his own green blade, he was using Anakin's saber. And Leia doesn't have her own lightsaber yet. And then when the fight starts, the Emperor gives her Vader's saber.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. But eventually, Vader says, you know, listen to your emotions. What you feel is true. Mm-hmm. And Leia puts down her blade, and so does Luke. They stop fighting. And Luke's like, no matter what you say, Your Highness, you can't corrupt my sister. She is a Jedi like our father before us, and like the noble line of heroes that we have become. You know, that we were. Yeah. And the Emperor says, well, I'm tired of this nonsense. I'm tired of your family, and I'm just done with it. So he starts shocking both Luke and Leia. Like, he's done with it. And there's no, like, thought this time, because Vader immediately grabs his hands and, like, smashes his knees in, and he's, like, holding him like this, and he says, flee, my children. Run. And he doesn't have his lightsaber this time, but he's pushing him down like this, and he's got his hands like this. And so Luke and Leia run to Han, and they slam 3PO into the wall, and they're like, shut up! And they're like, Han, grab 3PO. And so Han's got 3PO like in a fireman's carry, and he's like, why do I have to carry the droid? And they're like fighting a shit ton of stormtroopers. He's like, I got the droid. And Luke and Leia are just like sweeping through stormtroopers, just killing the shit out of all of them. And Han's got 3PO, and he's like using him as a shield. And the Emperor beats Vader, and Vader's like on his back. And he's like, did you really think this was going to change anything? Like, I'm more powerful than you. Mm-hmm. But on the screen, this huge like video call comes in from like the fleet. And one of the officers is just like, Emperor, the Death Star firing on the fleet. And Emperor's just like, what is happening? And you just see, like, the fleet is just annihilated. It's just like ashes in space. Yeah. And the video call changes to Yoda. He's like, good to see you again, Palpatine. And he's like, Jedi Master Yoda, come down here and face me and a legion of my stormtroopers. By now they've turned off your weapon system. And Yoda goes, coming to see you I am. And the Death Star fucking smashes into the Jedi Temple. Yoda's just like, fuck you, buddy, let's do this. So, and you see, like, Luke and Han and Leia are turning around as they're flying away, and they're like, is that the Death Star? And Han's like, this wasn't part of the plan. This was not part of the plan. And it's just like...
They're just like, I'll teach you to take my temple, damn it. I can't have it, nobody can.
So Yoda fucking kills himself, the Emperor, Tarkin, the Death Star, Vader, all at once. Just done. And that is the second to last page. Okay. The last page is literally just like another 5 years later. And it's like Leia being made the new Chancellor of the Republic. And they're talking about how, like, there's lots of rebuilding that needs to be done, healing that needs to be done. And they're like, well, it's a shame that we lost R2 and all that.
I was going to say, What happened to R2?
And R2 comes rolling out of nowhere with this shiny new body, and he's like, well, we uploaded him to the Falcon before he left with Master Yoda. Of course he hates his new body. And then you just see Luke tapping Leia on the shoulder and pointing off to the side, and there's just Obi-Wan and Vader and Yoda all like, what's up? We're Force Ghosts. And that's the end! That's
awesome. That's amazing.
I told you, I was like... Because it's cool to see how the events just spiral, like, just totally out of control.
It changed into a completely different story.
Because it doesn't just affect New Hope, it changes the timeline for Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, all of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, when Yoda just started crashing the Death Star into the thing, I was like, this series is batshit insane.
Yeah. I didn't expect it. By any means.
But I loved it. It was really good. I enjoyed it. And Han in particular made some of the funniest stuff in there. It's definitely worth a read. It's a quick one too.
Okay.
It's only 4 issues, so a collected volume takes maybe half hour, 45 minutes to get through. Long. But it's really good.
Cool.
I definitely recommend the Infinities stories.
So the other two, those ones, they changed something in the other movies?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, from the Empire Strikes Back one, I haven't read the full thing, but I do actually have one comic from it, like one individual comic.
Okay.
And the event that changes is that Luke dies on Hoth.
Oh.
So, for that one, New Hope is still New Hope.
Uh-huh.
And then the beginning of Empire Strikes Back is still Empire Strikes Back. But it's a new chain off of that timeline where Luke has died on Hoth.
Okay.
So, and then it's going to be the same thing for Return of the Jedi, which I actually know nothing about.
Okay. Well, cool. I'm excited to see more about that. Because that story was freaking awesome.
They're nuts!
All right. Well, we've gone long over time, so I'll probably split this into 2 videos.
That's cool.
They'll upload at the same time, but... All right. Well, thanks, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that segment, because I certainly enjoyed listening to it. That was really neat. And I look forward to seeing the other 2, which will also be presented by Rick.
And remember, that was Star Wars Infinities, guys. And if you've never picked them up, some of the Star Wars comics are absolutely amazing, and we definitely recommend them.
Very much. This is very cool. It's good to see Star Wars in a what-if scenario.
Their what-if scenarios are the best.
All
Have a good one, guys.
We have more videos on the screen. Subscribe, all that jazz. You've been on YouTube before. You get the routine. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.